Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and today I'm doing a subscriber financial review. If you're interested in a video just like this one for your financial situation, you can share that with me at my email that is down in the description box. There's also a list of things down there that would be helpful for you to include in your email. Just know that I have a few of these piled up in my inbox, so it's just going to take me a few weeks until I get to yours. On the other hand, if you would prefer to work with me one-on-one so we can dig into things further and I can give you better suggestions and advice, then I also offer that. That is linked down below. You can see my offerings. I also have a course coming out this month, so stay tuned for that, but that is going to be focused on budgeting, saving, paying down debt. It's really best for people who are beginners to all of those things, as well as the group coaching that I will be offering this month too. I do have a wait list for the group coaching, so if you're interested in that, go to the link in my description box, enter your name and email, and you will be the first to hear about that. Final thing, if you want to provide any suggestions for the individual that this video is about and you decide to comment, please just be friendly. I'm all about getting the community to help, but just make sure that you're being kind. All right, so per usual, I'm gonna go ahead and read through her email, and then we'll hop to my spreadsheets when the time is right. She said, I'm in my late 30s, single, no kids, and I live in Las Vegas. I moved here about 4 years ago from the Midwest, and I love it. I am still renting an apartment. I have a bachelor's degree in finance and an MBA. I currently work in the financial services industry. I have made a lot of bad financial decisions where I know better, but did it anyways. I am so sick of this debt that I have. I really want to follow the Dave Ramsey plan, but I can't even get past the first baby step of saving $1,000. I do like the debt snowball method, though. I'm thinking about taking a loan from my 401k in the amount of $3 to $5K to help me pay down my debt. I know that that is the worst thing to do, but I feel stuck. I feel like I should be way ahead of where I am now. I'm going to strongly discourage you to pull from your 401k. In her whole email, she did not share with me how much she actually has in her 401k, but no matter what, I just would never suggest that unless it's like, you know, life or death type of situation. So I think you should leave the money in the 401k. Don't pull anything out. It's not going to be worth it. There are a number of other things that she should be able to do. You'll see with everything, her situation is pretty tough and pretty extreme, for lack of a better word. So yeah, you're definitely going to have to do something to change your current finances, but pulling from your 401k is just not something that I advise. My numbers are below. Income, $3,490. She is renting for $1,550. Has quite a few subscriptions that maybe you could clean up. It's not gonna make or break your budget, that's for sure. But it's just, I don't know. Like Amazon Prime, y'all know how I feel about Amazon Prime. I know a lot of people have it to watch the TV shows and the movies there, but at the same time, you're getting access to super quick shipping. You're going to get your product the next day and free shipping, so you just feel like you can go shopping at any time and from the convenience of your home. So I think a lot of people should not have Amazon Prime, especially if you're in a situation like this. So of all of these subscriptions, I would say Amazon Prime should go. Internet is also a little bit high, but sometimes that can't be controlled, but maybe you could shop around for that. U-Haul storage unit, that one was interesting to see, $130.90. Now, I'm thinking you're living in an apartment, but you have a lot of other stuff, so you're using that to hold your other stuff, and I think we should get rid of that. That's definitely an area that you could work on if you need to go through your things in your apartment and in the storage unit to see what you can get rid of so that you can eliminate this storage unit. Obviously, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, like that's, maybe it's something much larger there or it's not even her stuff, but I'm going to assume it is and say that if you can eliminate that from your budget, you're going to free up $130, and that is going to help your finances, of course. Something else she didn't include here are her groceries and food out, as well as any like miscellaneous spending. So as I was making spreadsheets, like just planning out her budget, I had to guess what she would be putting toward that. And that could be a problem area. It usually is the problem area for most people. They don't realize how much they're spending on food out until they actually start tracking. But if she is going out to eat, she's definitely probably going into further credit card debt, or it's really tight for her. Y'all will see with the spreadsheet. But as for her debt, she did attach a screenshot, so I will put that up. It looks like she did purchase my avalanche/snowball tracker, so that is cool. Thank you for purchasing that. I'm not really sure about the way that she organized them. I will clean this up, like the way that I think she should prioritize these debts in my actual spreadsheets, but at least this is a good start. She did add a note about the debt for the student loans, estimated payments, Navient 5912, and Nelnet 228 to 328 when they start back, but I may have to have them in deferment. It said that I was automatically enrolled in the save plan. I am not paying on those right now. This email was from September. As I said, I have quite a few of these in my inbox, so just catching up. But as she said, she may have to put them into deferment, and I think she's gonna have to. Y'all will see with everything laid out that she's not going to be able to afford these payments. Also curious about Navient, because are they only holding, like, I had Navient before and then they moved me to Advantage, so I don't know if yours is a private loan or if it's still with Navient, but yeah, I would check on that and just make sure that you are like logging into the right thing, because I was under the impression that Navient was no longer serving student loans, but maybe it was just federal. For the pawn shops, you pay that payment to bump it out 30 days, or you pay the whole thing off. Very interesting there. I have never heard of that. So what I'm thinking is, even if she's making these payments, it's not lowering those debts. Like, that debt is just staying the same, and then she makes a $20 payment, but it just bumps out the whole payment for 30 days. So it didn't lower it by $20. It's just still the same balance, even though you're putting money to it. That's definitely not ideal, and the balances are quite low, so I would prioritize those, because those payments, because it's such a small balance, I think those should be prioritized even if there's no interest on it, but that is technically, like with you just delaying it by 30 days, but you're making a payment but it's not helping, then you should prioritize those. So I will show y'all that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot. This is a lot of debt. This is not the best situation to be in. This is really overwhelming overall, and I'm really sorry that you're in this situation. Just, this genuinely makes me sad, and I think you can clean things up for sure, but it's going to take some work. And honestly, with me just making this one video, I can't be of much help. I am going to, go through your budget and suggest where you can change things and how you can improve things, but there's much more to this picture. She has $100 in savings and then a Marcus high yield savings account, which is currently empty. My goals are to stop living paycheck to paycheck, have a starter emergency fund of about 2 months of expenses. I love my job, it's growing, but you never know. I do not have anything in savings. I want to build a couple of streams of income, pay off/pay down debt. Currently, my parents pay for my car insurance and my cell phone bill. I want to take it over. I want to start some side hustles, but I work a fast-paced, demanding job, and I get overtime some of the time. I am currently looking for something to do at home online after work hours. Other info, my credit score is 574. All credit cards are maxed out. I called to get interest rate lowered on everything, and they would not. Again, thank you so much for not judging. I am so embarrassed about the choices that I've made with the ridiculous high interest rates, the debt, and the whole thing. Per usual with these videos, there's no reason to be embarrassed. I am really glad that you reached out for help and are at least looking into your finances. So proud of you for starting to put things together. It looks like you are attempting to budget, attempting to start making extra payments on your debt, and that is a huge step. Just actually even recognizing the fact that there is a problem here is huge. Your credit score will improve with time. As you pay down debt, your credit score will just increase naturally, so don't worry about it. She mentioned that she already called all of her credit card companies. That's something I usually suggest for people with a lot of credit card debt, because oftentimes they will lower your interest rate even if it's just temporarily or, you know, like 3% drop or something, but that can still be helpful. And that usually works just depending on when you call, but also if you've been like a loyal customer and have made payments in time and stuff like that. So that's okay. Don't worry about that. You at least tried. So that is the most important part. I do want to talk about the side hustle stuff and all of that, but I first want to hop to my spreadsheets so that we can see what her expenses subtracted from her income even looks like. All right, so we are looking at all of the expenses that she sent to me. She told me her income is $3,490, and she does have her master's degree. But yeah, we'll circle back to that. Kind of already talked about everything here. The only thing she didn't include in her budget that she sent me was groceries and food out. So I just popped in some numbers that maybe she's staying within, but honestly, I'm gonna say she may be spending more in these categories. I also put all of her debts down at the bottom, so that's this whole section, and you can see that it is quite a lot. If you add up all of her minimum payments, it's like $1,500. And right off the bat, y'all can quickly see here that there's just not enough income to cover all of these expenses, because really, like, if you add up your rent and all of your minimum payments on your debt, that's like your whole paycheck. Like, all you'll be able to afford outside of that is some food. Oh, one thing here, she told me a range that her student loan, the Nelnet student loan, would be in. I just went with the higher one, just in, you know, to be conservative and on the safe side. But I don't know, even if it was lower, like 100 less than this, she still would not have enough money to cover all of her expenses. We'll talk about that. We'll come back, but I'm going to hop over to the debt tracker because I think this is important. Like, the order of things, the way she's prioritizing her debt pay down is going to be very important for her journey. Now, I did plug everything in, everything she shared with me. I do have a couple of things to call out, and I'm going to start with the pawn shop debts. As she mentioned, she can make this payment and then that will push it out for another 30 days. So then in 30 days she can pay that again, or she can pay the whole thing off. As I said before, I think she makes this $20 payment and then that pushes it to December, but the whole balance is still $135. It doesn't lower it to the $115 or anything, because it's just delaying when she has to pay it, which isn't good. This spreadsheet does not account for that, so it is applying the $20 minimum payment as if she's actually paying things down. But we're just going to kind of ignore that. The ideal situation would be to just pay those off as soon as possible, honestly, because that is... this dollar loan, first of all, is crazy. I don't know if this was a typo. I don't think it was. I don't know what a dollar loan is. Let me look that up. Yeah, these are... Oh, God. Yeah, these are definitely not the best thing to have. Like, do you see this? 1 day, $275, 14 days. Yeah, that's a lot. These are definitely predatory loans, and they're not there to help you. Like, yeah, you're getting money, but a 201% interest rate? That is why I put that one first, because that is just absolutely insane and definitely should be prioritized even over the pawn shop ones, because yeah, I have never seen that. This is like a payday loan and just completely unacceptable to even exist in this world, but unfortunately they're out there. Another thing to call out is with the student loans. Like I said, for the Nelnet, I just went with the higher minimum payment that she mentioned, and then she gave just 6% for the student loans, but I'm going to assume that there are multiple loans under one. Typically, you don't just take out a whole 100-something thousand dollars of student loan debt and just have one interest rate. There's multiple, and I would think that this 6% is the highest. But I do think those should be the last to be prioritized, because there are a lot of options with student loans. Like she said, she is probably going to have to put this into deferment, and that is something you can only do with student loans. You can't do that with credit card debt or the car payment or anything without having consequences, or serious consequences. Now for this spreadsheet, I'm assuming she will not be making any extra payments, and it will take her like 11 years to pay everything down. That's not that bad. This isn't completely correct because, like I said, the pawn shop issue, the student loans, if she defers them, then she wouldn't actually be making these payments. So it would actually be like $0 payments for quite some time, possibly. Oh, she also didn't provide the interest rate for the IRS. I'm assuming that's 8% because I think that's like the normal rate when you have IRS debt, but I could be wrong, so I made an assumption with that one. So yeah, this isn't 100% accurate, but I was expecting this to go past the 15 years. Like usually when people have this amount of debt, they are not able to pay off all of their debt within the 15 years that this spreadsheet goes to. So this is definitely promising. So you could just make the minimum payments on things and be debt free in about 11 years, and that is not the worst case scenario, you know? However, I don't think you honestly can even do that because looking at, like, even if this is what I wanted to show y'all. So I made an updated budget, took out the Amazon Prime because I think you should cancel that. The storage unit was one that you definitely should work on it. So if you can eliminate that and declutter things from your life, that could definitely help you. Let's knock that down to 0 just to see what things would look like if you got rid of it. Groceries, I put down to 300. Food out, you're not going because there's no room. And if we look at the difference this time around, yeah, you're still barely getting by. And like I said, this is assuming that you get rid of that storage unit. If you don't get rid of the storage unit, let's put that back in there. You don't have money to cover all of these things. And this is being pretty tight with your budget. There's obviously a couple of other things you could cancel in here. Like even if you got rid of all of your subscriptions, if we put these all at 0, which I doubt she will do, but it's fine. You don't need to. Even if you like shopped around for internet and got this to 70, I think she's paying this to her mom. This is fine. Let's say you got rid of this. That's fine. The phone bill, eventually you could switch to Mint Mobile. Of course, I'll plug that. But even still, yeah, it's not going to work out. And then if you get rid of the storage, you will be positive, but it's still like living paycheck to paycheck. And if things stay like that, that is okay. You'll get to a point where, you know, if you pay off the really large interest loan, the $1 loan, if you pay off those 2 pawn shop loans, that frees up how much in minimum payments? A lot in minimum payments, almost $400, which you can then roll into Capital One and all of that. But in order for you to even get through dollar loan, like just get through this almost $2,000 of debt, it would take you a really long time, and that's not ideal. That is not where I want you to be. I mean, here it's showing that it would take you about 11 months. You're going to pay a lot of interest on this, but like that's not too bad, and it will free up that $339 so you can move on to the next one. But I think things need to happen faster because you are losing so much in interest between all of these debts. With this spreadsheet, what I want you to take away from it is the order of paying things down. I think it should be more so in this order. I would even be okay with you. At one point, I had like the pawn shop ones first and then the dollar loan, just so you could like take care of that like $500 or so of debt and just get it out the way. But I don't know. And as y'all can see here, I kind of did the snowball for her. So obviously that dollar loan needs to be prioritized because of the crazy interest rate. And then same with the pawn shop stuff. But then for the rest of it, I was primarily doing snowball because I think she would benefit from this. She also mentioned that she prefers or likes that method. So I think that's fine. I think that's a good idea for her because then she'll quickly free up. Like once she gets through these first 3 loans, she'll get to Capital One, be able to pay that off quickly. And honestly, she would probably pay this off by the time Capital One. Yeah, you'll pay off Capital One before the dollar loan if you only made minimum payments. So that's good. The $51 would roll into the dollar loan, which is good. You'll pay off this CAFCU debt at the same time as the dollar loan, and that frees up $75. So yeah, the snowball would work in your favor as you get through them. IRS debt is usually like an emergency debt payoff, in my opinion. Like that should be prioritized. But when you have all these other higher, like a super high interest debts, as long as you're good with the IRS, like you have a payment plan set up and you're making those payments on time, then you should be okay, and you can put it a little bit lower. After that is the car. I put the car before the student loans because same thing as I said before. With the student loans, you can put those into deferment. With the car, you cannot. Plus, the car doesn't have a crazy amount of debt. It does have a really bad interest rate, but you'll pay off the car if you just make minimum payments by April 2026. And that's pretty good because you'll free up $294. As a whole, you are not a lost cause. You're in your late 30s, so yes, you may feel behind, and that is okay. But if you are able to make your minimum payments on all of your debts, you'll be debt-free. And it's going to take over 10 years, 11, 12, maybe up to 15 years if you have a harder time getting back into paying the student loans. Once you get to your 40s, you're going to have to invest very aggressively. As far as takeaway from this spreadsheet, you can cut some expenses, reduce some expenses, and clean things up, but that's only going to get you so far. You need to go much further than that. There's just more that you're going to need to do in your situation, and that's starting with your income. As Dave Ramsey says, you need a larger shovel. It sounds like you have a pretty good education. I mean, you have your MBA. I'm thinking you can probably find a job that is much higher paying. And I would really encourage you to start doing that. Like, start looking for a different job. Maybe you can go into project management, or there's just so much you could do with an MBA, I would imagine. And just having some work history behind you as well as those degrees, I am sure that you can find something else. Like, start networking on LinkedIn, clean up your LinkedIn, whatever you need to do. Apply, reach out to recruiters, like go crazy. You need something to increase your income. I mean, you already mentioned that your job is like fast paced and can be stressful, or I can't remember the exact words she had said, but if that's the case, you could probably find a job that is maybe even slower paced, but a higher income. So I would just definitely put that on your radar and start going after that. If you decide that you want to stay at your current job for whatever reason, then side hustles, I don't think, are the way to go. Well, let me say that, in my opinion, a lot of people, there's like a thin line on the definition of side hustle versus second job. I don't think you should do a side hustle, as in, I don't think you should find something to do online. If you're able to maybe freelance on the side with stuff that you already do, she mentioned she's in the financial services, so I don't think you would be able to freelance in that space, but maybe I'm wrong. If you're able to start something like right now, like tonight, you could start making money, then I think that would be okay to go down that side hustle path. But I think you need a second job. And by second job, this could be driving Uber Eats, getting Uber Eats orders, DoorDash, that sort of thing. Instacart is a good one. I'm sure Vegas is popping with all of that. I'm sure there might be a lot of competition or a saturated market, but I'm sure you could at least make a couple hundred extra per week by picking up a few deliveries. Otherwise, I would suggest a job like working in a restaurant, being a server or a bartender, somewhere where you get cash tips and you can immediately make progress. You can make your money for the night, go deposit it into the bank the next morning, and then apply that right away to your debt or to your emergency fund. Or I would say like the grocery store, where you can get a discount at that grocery store and then save money on your food while also increasing your income, and that is ideal. Whatever it's going to be, you definitely need to increase your income, and that needs to be sooner rather than later. And the reason I'm saying not to do a side hustle is because it usually takes some upfront time and sometimes even some upfront money. Like if you want to start an online, if you want to start a YouTube channel, like you're not going to start making money within that same month. It's going to take you potentially years to start earning money. Or if you want to start a blog, same thing there. If you want to do surveys online, like you're not going to make much money from it. It's not worth it. She may have some other online things in mind, and I think at one point you can get to that if you want to start a small business or an online business. That is great to strive for, but right now you need money. So you need to do something where you go to work, get a paycheck, or go to work, get paid within that week or 2 weeks so that you can immediately start saving and putting extra to your debt. I had already mentioned the storage unit. I think that could potentially be eliminated depending on what you have in there, but that's also a good opportunity to sell things. So if you are just holding on to things just to hold on to things, no, sell them, make some extra cash. That is how you build up your emergency fund really quickly. So this is another one where I don't have exactly what you should do and the best plan of action, because it's going to depend on what you do after watching this video. I think you absolutely do need to build up your emergency fund first, even if it's just the $1,000. If you want to follow Dave Ramsey's suggestion, that's fine. But with this situation, if you're not increasing your income, if you're not lowering your expenses, or really if you're not doing the combination of the two, you're not going to be able to do that. Clearly, from her email, she has tried that before and she's not been able to reach the 1,000. So you've got to make a big change in order to make that happen. And I know that working a second job sucks. Like, most people don't want to work more, but it is doable. You will definitely improve your finances, and it will help with the stress of it all as well. Like, you're just at a point where that's a necessity. Because I think even if you work a second job for like 6 months, you can find yourself much further. You can get to a point where those super high interest debts will be paid off, and then you can start paying down on your student loan debt. You'll have your emergency fund in place, and then from there you can reevaluate and see if you would be comfortable with losing that second source of income and going back to just one job. And you would want to make sure that with your one job that you can comfortably pay all of your debts, you still have extra income, you're not living paycheck to paycheck, and then you'll see that it's just slowly going to get easier the more that you pay down debt. But that's why I say the easiest thing for you to do is to get a different job, a different higher paying job. And that's easier in quotation marks because, getting another job is quite difficult. But if you want to put effort into something, definitely do that. So it's okay for you to try a couple of things. Like, maybe you want to start with driving for DoorDash and doing Instacarts or becoming a server, but at the same time still be applying for jobs and reaching out to recruiters so that you can eventually land a job where you're potentially making, over 80K, maybe into 6 figures. I'm not even going to touch investments on this one. She definitely needs to focus on her savings and debts for now. I made a lot of assumptions on this video, so this is definitely one I would want to follow up on and see what she ends up doing, if she got the higher paying job or the second job, and how much debt she's actually been able to pay down and hopefully gets out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle or going into further debt cycle sooner rather than later. So thank you so much to this person for sharing all of this information. I hope it was helpful. Any of y'all watching, if I missed anything or if you have any suggestions, please feel free to comment that down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.